Our next speaker stands at the frontier of artificial intelligence and human collaboration. As a senior product manager at Microsoft, Dhruv Joshi co-authored the New Future of Work 2024 and holds over a dozen US patents in privacy-preserving data innovation. His work asks us to think about our relationship with the machines that are learning from and with us. He's an engineer, an inventor, and a futurist all in one. And today, he'll challenge us to see AI not as a threat, but as a partner worth thinking. Please welcome Dhruv Joshi.
Thank you. In April this year, there was much talk about millions in costs being wasted by users saying please and thank you to AI products like ChatGPT. Because each word that these AI models process costs money, the cumulative cost of these little pleases and thank yous can add up to something quite substantial. So much so that it can even have implications on the environment because of the energy consumption involved. Now, the CEO of OpenAI's response to this was that it was money well spent. And this was taken to mean that for companies like OpenAI, it's a huge priority to have a natural conversation flow. Now, some people speculate that if you're nice to AI and you say please and thank you, you will be spared if AI will take over humanity. But I think there might be a better reason to do that. See, unlike experiences like web search, where you put a search query, you get a bunch of results, and you're done with the transaction, a conversation with AI is a true back and forth exchange. And I actually think that's why human language evolved, so that we can reason back and forth with one another and achieve a common goal together. So we have to think of ourselves as working in partnership with the AI. And we need to know how best to play our part in making the most of it. So to learn how to do that, let's start with a question. How do scientists know that AI is working effectively? If you use these products a lot, I certainly do, you must have noticed that they're improving pretty quick, right? The responses are so natural. The quality of the responses is tremendous, but it didn't always used to be like this. In the early days of AI, which was like 2 years ago, things were not looking too good. One of the biggest problems with AI was something called hallucinations, where AI very confidently shares misinformation. A pretty famous example of this was someone who asked AI, is it okay to eat rocks? And the AI said, not only is it okay, but geologists recommend eating 2 rocks every day. Super funny, this went viral, but of course this is completely false. Please don't eat rocks. Another interesting case was you could ask AI, who is Tom Cruise's mother? And it would give the right answer, which is Mary Lee Pfeiffer. And then if you immediately follow up with, okay, who is Mary Lee Pfeiffer's son? You would say, I don't know. Which is really interesting because even a child would get this right, but a sophisticated AI model wasn't able to do that. Now, of course, all these problems have since been fixed. But they've been fixed because scientists are able to measure and track them at the scale of hundreds of millions of conversations every week, and reflecting the diversity of things people use AI for. So how do scientists do this? Well, the state of the art is you bring in another AI model to act as a judge. So what you do is you take the conversations that users are having with AI, you give them to this judge, which is another AI model, and it comes back with a scorecard, which reflects the quality of the interaction. Sounds great, right? AI can do this faster and better than humans ever can at that scale. So, sounds amazing. I mean, what could possibly go wrong with having the same AI that makes mistakes judge its own responses? Well, of course, a lot can go wrong. And in the worst case, you can have something called model collapse, where you have AI-generated content, which is evaluated by AI and goes back to training the same AI and results in an AI model that just outputs complete gibberish. So what can we do? Well, I would say, as long as AI works for humans, which I hope is forever, it is the human feedback and the human course correction which is a sacred signal to align AI with human values and human preferences. Awesome. So where do we begin? Well, a pretty obvious place to begin is probably those little thumbs up and thumbs down buttons that you must have seen in the user interface of these AI properties, right? That's feedback that the human has chosen to give. Well, I can tell you at least two issues with this. The first one is that most people don't actually click that button. I mean, I use the products every day. I almost never do. It's similar to like, how often do you write a Yelp review for a restaurant you went? Or when you buy a product from a business and they send you those emails with that survey to fill, how often do you fill that? I almost never do. And unfortunately, this is the case with most people. And so you don't really get a lot of signal through this. The only people who do seem to do this are people who are extremely happy or extremely unhappy with the experience. That leads to the second issue, which is, if you train an AI model on just that kind of feedback, it results in AI models that are extremely sycophantic. They try to agree with everything you say, even if it may not be completely ethical or completely in line with human values. In fact, this exact thing happened to ChatGPT very recently, and OpenAI had to issue a public acknowledgement about the damage to trust that this had caused. So with this option now available, what can we do? Well, let's go back to where we began. Scientists looked at a massive number of human conversations with AI, and they found some really interesting patterns. They call these satisfaction rubrics and dissatisfaction rubrics. And what they found is, if in a conversation with AI, a human expressed gratitude, or they shared a lot of positive feedback, that was a strong indication that they were satisfied with what the AI was doing. And similarly, if they shared a lot of negative feedback, they had to keep repeating themselves, or they abruptly changed the topic of conversation, well, that was a strong indication that they were dissatisfied with what the AI was doing. Now, what's really interesting is none of these humans were told to do this. This all happened extremely naturally in the course of the conversation. But as we can see, these little signals, these little thank yous, they added to an extremely meaningful signal back to the AI. Maybe the folks at OpenAI knew this all along. So let's get back to the question we started with. How do we make the most out of our partnership with AI? Well, we're entering an era of something called digital labor, where AI agents won't just respond to your questions. They will actually have agency to act on your behalf. The vision is, you specify a high-level goal or an outcome that you have, and the AI agent will formulate a plan for how to do that. They might come back to you with some clarifying questions and then go off and independently execute that plan and come back to you with, hopefully, the thing that you want. If you're a professional, you may already be using AI agents. For example, AI agents may be taking notes during a meeting for you. They might then summarize those notes into action items on your behalf. You may be using an AI agent to do deep research into a specific topic, to produce a detailed research report on some subject. If you're a software engineer, an AI agent may already be writing software on your behalf. And so what's happening is we're already starting to form a teamwork with these AI agents. And I really think that the superpower in this team is not who can give the best prompts or instructions. The real superpower is who can give the best feedback. Because when you say things like, hey, thank you, that's what I wanted, or, oh, that's not what I wanted, can you do it this way? You are teaching and training the AI what good work looks like at human scale. In fact, I think we should start thinking of ourselves as managers of these AI agents. And if any of you have been fortunate enough to have a good manager, you know that a good manager shares praise or shares constructive feedback that helps you get better at your job. And so by us being deliberate about saying these things, about sharing that feedback, we're helping reinforce human values like kindness and respect back into the AI. By doing this, you would literally be helping improve this technology for all of humanity. Or, if AI actually does take over humanity, you'll be rewarded for your kindness. Either way, a simple thank you goes a long way. Thank you very much.